It's no secret that Mercedes has struggled since the new regulations came in 2022. But what things need to go right for Mercedes to be a championship contender again in 2024?
Now, their key weaknesses of their current car, their current concept, are the floor, the side pod configuration, the mechanical setup, basically just the whole car. Basically just the whole car in the bin, please. This car is not giving them a consistent or high enough amount of downforce and therefore grip. Now, James Allison has been called in, Mike Elliott has been kicked out, it's all going on, but Allison has this innate ability to just lead a team. He energizes the people, he ignites the passion inside of them, and he knows what direction to take the flipping car in as well, which helps a lot. It's not just me saying this as well, he has the track record to prove his ability as well. He made two of the most dominant F1 cars in the history of the sport, which was the Ferrari F2004 and the W11. And after just a few months of being back in the team, he created an upgrade package which immediately helped them get more consistency from the car. So imagine what he's capable of when he's going to be designing the car from the ground up. He's not going to be limited to a gearbox layout, a suspension layout. Even, financially, he's not really going to be as limited as he was this season. So that works in his favor, but he also has the evidence of what does and doesn't work from the 2022 and 2023 cars from other teams. So that's 20 different cars to learn from, and in some cases even more than that, really, because if you think about McLaren, they obviously had their 2022 car, which didn't work, and then their 23 car at the start of the season, which again didn't work, and then again they brought a third car halfway through the season. So it's not like he's doing it from scratch. He has to build from absolutely nothing and no information of what different ideas might look good on the CFD or whatever, but don't work in reality. He already has the information on that from the other teams doing it. So that's really going to give him the right direction of where to go, which is obviously the Red Bull direction, because obviously Red Bull have just got it spot on and then they've just built on that. But they have this path out of where they currently are, and all these technical troubles that they're having, James Allison, I am 100% confident, will fix them. Unless there's all of a sudden been a major culture shift at that team, I don't see how he wouldn't, because it's pretty much as simple as from the top, they've been going in the wrong direction. They've been heading east when they should be heading west. That sort of thing. Now, that is their technical director and the technical troubles they're having, but they also have the people and the resources to get them into title contention. They have one of the largest facilities for both engine and chassis development in Formula 1. Now, I was looking around for numbers on their workforce as well, and some places were saying 1,000, some sources were saying 700 just for Brixworth, which is where they build the engine, other places 1,200, blah blah blah. But the point is, all of them, when you combine Brixworth and Brackley, would be over 1,000 people, which is one of the largest workforces in Formula 1, if not the largest workforce of any of the teams. And they still largely have the same people that were working on all of the winning cars. Okay, there's been a few people, yes, key people to an extent, so it will have an effect, but it's still largely the same people that are really doing a lot of the grunt work. It's just the main ideas men that have sort of gone to different teams, some to Red Bull, some to Aston Martin, even to McLaren as well, I think, potentially. Mike Elliott really struggled with leadership, but James Allison's there now, so that's all sorted. So they still have the engineering talent. It's not just anyone can rock up and be in the team. So although there's over 1,000 people, there are 1,000 smart people, okay? Very, very clever people. So we know they have the leadership. We know that they have a good workforce, but they also have the driver talent as well. I mean, it's fairly obvious to say that, but I mean, if we look at them, Lewis Hamilton, 7-time champion of the world, literally one lap away from being an 8-time champion of the world as well. He's had the most wins of any F1 driver. You can't really ask for a better leadership than statistically the greatest F1 driver in history.
So at this point in the video, I just wanted to pause and quickly clarify that this video was recorded a few weeks before the announcement that Lewis Hamilton was going to Ferrari. Now, that obviously does change some things, but really in this video I'm talking specifically about the 2024 season, and Lewis has already been developing the car since, around July time last year with the team. He's only just made the deal with Ferrari, really just signed it on paper, and it's just been announced. So it doesn't really change things in terms of his 2024 season, but it does obviously for the 2025 season. He's not going to be developing the car with Mercedes. So in that sense, the points I'm making in this video are still relevant. So with that in mind, we just continue on. Back to the show.
You can't ask for someone better to lead them. He's going to know exactly what he wants from a car, and he's voiced it multiple times in interviews. We've seen it. That's what Lewis Hamilton brings to the table, is that confidence and knowledge of he knows what he needs from the car, which also helps James Allison get the direction for the team to focus on what things to do. On the other side of the garage, we got Russell, who's realistically not far off Hamilton. I would say probably, taking out factors, such as not getting his setup right, blah, 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 bad weekends, whatever. I would say he's probably a 10th off of Lewis, if that, really. So that's exactly where he should be at this moment in time, in this moment in his career. It's not just that they have the right people and leadership, they also have the track record as well of winning constructor championships at the very least. They won them 8 years in a row from 2014 to 2021 across 3 different regulation changes. 2014, of course, 2017, and then 2021 we had the interim regulation changes, which were minor, I will admit that, but they ended up having a much more significant impact on Mercedes' concept, which was low rake, compared to the Red Bull and the majority of the other teams, which ran a higher rake, with Red Bull obviously being highest, but their concepts weren't affected as much. I'm not going to pretend like I understand why, but it's just what happened. Now, it's not just first mover advantage, but they are also able to adapt and innovate as well. The zero pod concept, if we look at 2022, it was a high risk, high reward concept. They were talking about numbers on the CFD that, were going to be stupid amounts of downforce. And it is exponential downforce the closer you can run the car to the floor. And they knew it was going to be much tighter in the new regulations, so why wouldn't they take that risk if the numbers were looking good and fairly consistent? Now, for me, running with that idea was the same as when they ran with a low rate concept and the double diffuser when they were Brawn. They weren't even sure if that was legal. It was a loophole. They were both high risk, high reward things. Again, also with whatever they were doing to that engine in 2014, clearly it was something that the other teams didn't think was possible, and that's what gave them that advantage. So yes, that zero pod concept and the changes they made since are the most visually different compared to those other risks that they're taking. For example, low rake, you're not going to notice 10 mil of difference on the rear ride height, but it makes a major difference in the way the whole car, you remember the barge boards, the side pods, the diffuser, the way that all runs has a, that 10 mil of difference has a huge effect on the car. But it's not a very visual thing for us, but the zero pods has been. So yes, it's the most visually different, but it's in their DNA to take these calculated risks. Would they still have chosen not to take the risk because they know, okay, well, the odds are against us in terms of we're more likely to get it wrong? Would they still have not taken that risk? Well, no, of course not. It's the nature of the sport. You have to take risks to get the first mover advantage. Risk is the first mover advantage, and it's what gets you ahead of the competition, the way that Mercedes have been for so long, the way Red Bull are now. So they have to take that risk. And, on the other side of it, you think, well, there's always the chance that maybe you've got the maths wrong on what the risks are, the potential for it going wrong could be. You have that to keep in mind, but then you also have the fact that new regulations completely reset that risk. So all the more reason to go for a bold concept. Personally, looking back on what they've done in 2022, I don't think that what Mercedes did in terms of their mindset was wrong. I don't think so at all. It didn't work, but that means now they have a greater chance of being right. If we go back to that analogy, if you've got a 1 in 4 chance of being wrong, and then you do it first off the bat, well then you've got 3 in 4 chance that you're going to be right for the remainder of the regulations. That only bodes well for Mercedes, doesn't it? So obviously those are, just numbers for an illustration, but you see the point I'm trying to make. The point is that you learn from that 1 in 4 mistake, which Mercedes have made in 2022, to the point that you don't make the mistake again. We can say that under Mike Elliott's leadership, they haven't learnt from it. They decided after seeing Brazil, well, maybe this car concept is good enough. That's clearly been proven wrong. Allison's come in and they've quickly applied a plaster, a band-aid solution until they could make the full change and full concept and direction shift for 2024, which they've been working on for a while now. That's why Mercedes can fight in 2024. They have the leadership, they've got the drivers, they've got the workforce, they've got the facilities, they've got the track record as well. So that's some food for you to digest over the winter break. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think I'm completely waffling? Let me know. So yeah, have a good one. I'll see you next time.